Question 21. The lowest level of organization in living organism is A. Organ, B. Cell, C. System, D. Tissue. The lowest level of organization in living organism is which of these options? This question often, repeats itself in most past questions. If you have been looking at the other videos, you will see this question that have been repeated. Okay, so let's look at it again. We have the levels of organization is as simple: cell to tissue to organ to system. So this is from the lowest to the highest in terms of ranking. So which one is the lowest here? Is cell, the basic unit of life. So the correct answer is option B, cell. The next question, question 22. Which of the following is the most complex according to their cellular level of organization? A. Heart, B. Air, C. Euglena, D. Hydra. So this question is saying which of these is complex, has a lot of made up of tissues, has a lot of cell, is like a machine with plenty compartments. So which one can you deduce that is the answer? The answer here is heart. Heart is a machine on its own. It does a lot. It's made up of complex, complex compartments. It has a lot of cells in it, so to perform its function. Okay, so the correct answer here is at option A. Question 23. Which of the following organism is multicellular? So what is multicellular? When we say multi, it's plenty, more than one, multi-millionaire. So more than one. So it has many cells. A. Chlamydomonas, B. Spirogyra, C. Amoeba, D. Euglena. So the correct answer here is Spirogyra. Spirogyra is this greenish thing in dirty water. So it grows in water. So it has it's like a thread-like filament. It has many cells in it. So the correct answer here is Spirogyra. So I'm just trying to let you relate to it. Okay, so question 24. In Bryophyte, sex organs are produced in we made mention of reproductive organs, sex organs earlier when I talked about gametes. So looking at it again, sex organ. So we should be able to filter our option from here. You need to be smart in answering that. So question A, protonema, B, sporophyte, B, gametophyte, D, rhizoid. So once you see a question like this, see sex organs, just know that gametes, related to gametes. So the correct answer here is gametophyte. So it's as easy as that. Question 25. Seed plants are the most dominant vegetation on land, because why do we have seed plants? Plenty on land. Why is that so? Because seed can be easily dispersed. What do you mean by dispersed? Can be easily be transported, can by animals, by wind. You put pawpaw seed, you put lemon seed on the floor, or you take orange as you are done taking the orange.
Get the cheapest science materials from allschoollabs.com.
The seed, you dispose it somewhere. So seeds are easily, they can be dispersed easily. So why do we have seed plants as a dominant vegetation? So from my explanation, let's go through the options. Option A, they are motile gametes and they move on their own. B, the ability to photosynthesize. If they photosynthesize, they bring out fruits, does not necessarily mean that's why they are plenty. If they keep, if somebody is not, dispersing them, there won't be many. So C, efficient seed dispersal. D, availability of water. So the one that answered this question correctly is efficient seed dispersal. You say availability of water, photosynthesize, those also contribute to it. If there is water, seed will be able to grow, right? And the ability to photosynthesize. But the main reason why there are so much, if somebody is not taking it from one place to another, if wind is not blowing it, there won't be so much. So the correct answer is efficient seed dispersal, option C. Question 26. If a child can receive blood from all donors, it belongs to the blood group. So this question, we've answered it earlier, but they kind of alter some things. But you just have to understand it. Here they made it a practical example, that before it was just direct universal recipient, but this question they made it practical. So if you have in-depth knowledge, it shouldn't give you an issue to answer. Okay, so if a child can receive from all blood donors, that means it's still a universal recipient. So that means you have to understand your question, don't just cram, so that you'll be able to, even if they tweak it a bit, you will still be able to get the answer. So the correct answer here is AB, like we said earlier. AB, people with blood AB, they can receive blood from all other blood groups. But for blood group O, especially O negative, they are universal donors. They can give blood to any other blood group. But A can only receive from A, B can only receive from B. So option B is the correct answer, AB. Question 27. Which of the following is not a function of the nucleus of a cell? Is not a function. A, it translates genetic information for the manufacture of proteins. Is this a function of a nucleus? Yes, it is the DNA. It has nucleus. So it translates genetic information and then for manufacture of protein. So B, it stores and carries hereditary information. That's it. It's a function of a nucleus. C, it is a reservoir of energy for the cell. Does it answer to it? Let's see. D, it controls the life processes of the cell. So the one that is not the correct answer here is reservoir of energy. So which is the powerhouse of the cell? Energy, power, that's mitochondria. So mitochondria is the site for energy generation. It generates energy. But for nucleus, it's like a controller. It controls every part, every function of the cell. So all these are correct. Correct, the function, but this is not a function of the nucleus. That makes option C the correct answer. Question 28. The dominant phase in the life cycle of a fern is the dominant phase where it is visible, the fern plant. So the correct answer is sporophyte, is the visible stage of a fern plant. So the correct answer here is sporophyte, option B. Question 29. Parental care is exhibited by. So which of these animals care for their younger ones? Care for their offspring, rather. It cares for their offspring. So which of these animals? We say snail. Do snail really care like that? Let's see. Earthworms, do they care for their babies? C, birds. Do the birds care? D, toads. Do they really care? So let's just compare it. If you look at it, for birds, you see that they go the extra mile compared to these other animals, these other organisms. This bird in particular, you see that when they lay their eggs, they incubate it, they build nests. See the bird nest, they build nests just to keep their babies warm. So I would say the correct answer here is birds. Toads, they lay their eggs and they go. Snail, I don't think they don't do such like birds. They don't. So earthworms too, but for birds, they know this one lay eggs, ensure it is incubated, build nests to keep their baby warm. So this I would say the correct answer here is birds. Birds is the correct answer, option C. Question 30. Which of the following groups of cell is devoid of true nuclei? So what it's saying is does not have true nuclei. That's how to break that English down. Which of these organisms here does not have this nuclei, does not have true nucleus? So, and if you look at it, we have the eukaryotes, we have the prokaryotes. The eukaryotic organisms, they have true nucleus, while prokaryotes, they don't have true nucleus. Example of prokaryotes, we have bacteria, right? So let's see which of these does not have true nucleus. That means they are prokaryotes. So I will say again, A, B, Monera, C, fungi, D, viruses. So the correct answer is Monera. Why? Because these Monera are prokaryotes, like bacteria. So they don't have true nucleus. They are devoid of true nucleus. Option B is the correct answer. Question 31. I hope you are still following. Question 31. The organs that will be most useful to giant African rats. Organ that will be useful to giant African rats in finding their way in underground habitats, under the ground, to burrow the ground and find their way under the ground. So which organ is useful to carry out such function? So A, we have the vibrissae, B, nostrils, C, eyes, D, tails. So which one answers this question correctly? The answer is vibrissae. They are like whiskers. These whiskers for sensing objects. So this is for smell, this is to see. You can say, what about eyes? But to find their way underground where there's no light, when light is a bit limited. So this will not really fit in. So we say, what about the tail? The tail just to maintain balance. But the correct answer here is vibrissae. They are whiskers to be able to sense objects. So that's the correct answer. Option A. Question 32. The increasing order. Increasing. It doesn't say decreasing. So increasing order of the particle size in following soil type is the increasing. That means from the smallest to the largest, from the lowest to the highest. So the increasing order of the particle size. So which one is the smallest? Which one is the largest? So option A, clay, sand, silt, gravel. B, silt, sand, clay, gravel. C, clay, silt, sand, gravel. C, D, silt, clay to sand to gravel. So which is the correct answer? Clay, yes, is the smallest. So we filtered it. We are in between options A and C. Then the next one is what? Is silt. So now we are getting
Run quick tests and analysis. Visit analysis.africa.
into the correct answer. So it's clay, silt, sand, and gravel. So this is the correct answer, option C. The next question, question 33. The causative agent of bird flu is A, protozoan, B, virus, C, bacterium, D, fungus. What causes bird flu? Is it bacteria, is it virus, or protozoa or fungus? So what causes bird flu? Bird flu is caused by virus, influenza virus. So the correct answer is option B, virus. Question 34. Which of the following is an example of parasitism? We mentioned parasitism earlier. So parasitism is a kind of feeding relationship where one party is harmed and the other is not harmed. So that's parasitism. So A, fungi growing on a dead branch tree. This is saprophytism. That means bacteria growing on dead organic matter. B, a squirrel living in an abandoned nest of a bird. If a squirrel is living on the nest, is not doing any harm to the nest, it's just using the nest as a shade. So option C, this is commensalism. Option C, mistletoe growing on an orange tree. The mistletoe growing on an orange tree. That means it's sucking the nutrients from the orange tree. The nutrients that is necessary for the tree to produce good fruit. So this is competing, is sharing the nutrient. So let's see the last option. D, cattle egrets taking ticks from the body of the cattle. This cattle egrets feed on ticks, and as it's taking the ticks from the body of the cattle, it's even helping the cattle. It's not doing any harm to the cattle, right? So this is like both of them are benefiting. It's a mutualism kind of relationship. So the correct answer here is mistletoe growing on an orange tree. Why? Because this mistletoe is competing with the nutrients that this orange tree is supposed to have. So this mistletoe is feeding on the nutrients, and it will definitely affect the growth of the orange tree or the fruit production. So the correct answer here is option C. The next question, question 35. One adaptation shown by Hydrophyte in freshwater habitats is the A, leaves reduced to spines, B, poor development of roots and xylem tissues, C, waxy cuticle on shoot surface, D, well-developed roots and supporting system. So one adaptation that is shown by hydrophytes. What are hydrophytes? They are water plants. So in fresh water, so since they are water plants, for example, the water lilies, they do not really need a very strong root to draw water. Water is everywhere. So what can we say the correct answer is? The correct answer here is poor development of roots and xylem tissue. Why? They don't need strong roots like that to get water. Water is available. Then xylem is responsible for transporting water from the root to the leaves. So water is everywhere. They do not need a strong development of these two to be able to get water. So that is why option B is the correct answer. Yeah. Question 36. Which of the following are components of the skeletal system in humans? When we talk about skeleton in humans, is made up of bones and joints. So the correct answer here is A, cartilage and blood vessel, B, ligaments and tendons, C, muscles and nerves, D, bones and joints. So the correct answer here is bones and joints. Question 37. Which of the following represents an example of ecological management and conservation through a biological association? So this question simply says, which practices do we have to put in place to protect animals, to protect plants? So there's no unnecessary hunting, no cutting down of trees, just to protect the environment and the organism, the animals and plants. So let's see, option A, construction of a dam for hydroelectric power. B, introduction of an invasive species for pest control. C, clear cutting of forests for timber extraction. D, establishment of marine protected area. For what I've explained earlier, by simplifying the question, I made mention of putting some things in place to protect the animals, just protect the environment. So the correct answer here, you can relate it to establishment of marine protected areas. So people don't go to these, just like conservation centers. You can't just go there to hunt, can't go there to cut down trees or whatsoever. So the correct answer is establishment of marine protected areas. So question 38. The term cell was given by A, Robert Hooke, B, Schwann, D, DeBary, and D, Tatum. So the correct answer is Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke did an experiment by using cork. He observed this cork. I'm trying to relate, kind of simplify it. When you think of cork, just think of this cork on top of a wine bottle. This wood, brownish, something like wood that they use to cork wine. So this man observed this cork under a microscope, and he saw
400,000 cheap medicines, cosmetics, and analytical supplies. Everything in one big place. allschoollabs.com.
tiny compartments, and he called them cell. So that is why the term cell was given by Robert Hooke. Option A is the correct answer. Question 39. Which of the following is the primary organ involved in gas exchange during respiration in human? A, diaphragm, B, bronchi, C, lungs, D, trachea. So the main organ that is used for gas exchange, taking in oxygen, releasing carbon dioxide in human is lungs. The correct answer here is lungs. So the last question for this video, Question 40. Which gland is responsible for producing the hormone insulin? What is this hormone insulin? Insulin is found in the pancreas, and this particular hormone helps you to break down complex sugar into simpler ones. So what do I mean? When you consume a large bowl of eba, this hormone will come to action to help you break that large bowl of eba into simpler form that can be absorbed by the body. So this is what this hormone, the function of this hormone. So option A, thyroid gland; B, pituitary gland; C, pancreas; D, adrenal gland. So like I said earlier, the correct answer is pancreas. Insulin is found in the pancreas. The pancreas is responsible for producing the hormone insulin. So now we have come to the end of this video. I hope you've learned a lot of things and how you'll be able to answer your question smart, sharp, and very direct. Make sure you subscribe to this video so that when we upload, likely questions like this, you'll be motivated and will be able to reach more people. And don't forget to share the videos to your friends. I wish you all the best. Bye.
Hi, I'm sure you enjoyed the video you just watched. To see more content as that, preparing you for your upcoming exam, make sure to smash the subscribe button and turn on notification. Also, remember that you can use the comment section to send us your questions or your inquiries, and we are happy to take them. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.